Today's video will be mainly about Jimi Hendrix's last poem/song that he wrote right before he died. He died on September 18th, the morning of September 18th, 1970. And since he died, there was a lot of different reports that were coming out. Basically, bottom line, this is a very big mystery. It's an unsolved mystery. No one really knows how he died. I think there's a case to be made that it was a murder because there was something found in his body when he died that was not detectable at first. He might have been poisoned. And I want to just mention, I'm reading from Monika Dannemann's book, The Inner Life of Jimi Hendrix, by his fiance. Now, Monika Dannemann has gotten a lot of bad press. If you've looked into this issue, you will probably hear on just about every video in most of the books, Monika Dannemann is not made out to be a good character. She told different accounts of how Jimmy died. This is what people say. She told different stories. She couldn't keep her facts straight. She was jealous. She was known to be very angry at Jimmy. She got into serious altercations with him, even physically violent with him. These are the things that people say about her. Now, reading her book, it's a very lovely book. It's kind of like a coffee table book. It came out in, I think, 94, right before she actually died the next year. It looked like it was suicide. So that doesn't look good for her either, that she committed suicide. But I think maybe she thought she had finished her work because she put the book out. She tried to set the record straight. I tend to side with her, and I'll explain why. I think that what she saw in Jimmy, first of all, it is pretty well attested, and people think that Jimmy did tell her a lot of things that he didn't tell other people, that he was able to express to her things about himself in private that he was not able to express to other people for whatever reason. And this is what she goes into in the book. What Monika goes into in her book is the spiritual side of Jimmy that everyone knew was there, because you can hear it in his songs. You just listen to, like The Wind Cries Mary. I'm going to talk about that song in a moment. And you can definitely hear it, right? You can hear his first of all, to be that gifted with the guitar and with music and with sound, I would think that you'd have to be very tuned in, and that's very pretty clear. Now, one thing that people don't know is that Jimmy was maybe more religious. He was spiritual, obviously, a spiritual dude, spiritual cat. But was he religious? Did he believe in Jesus? He seemed to have a faith in Jesus. For example, I'm going to show you the original title of Purple Haze was Purple Haze, Jesus Saves. Here it is, Purple Haze, Jesus Saves, right? I don't know if you can see that. This is his handwriting, right? Monika is trying to show, for example, one thing she says is right before he died, he put on his cross. He had a cross. I was trying to find it where she was talking about it. But he had some kind of premonition. He knew he was going to die. He told people that he knew his end was coming. He heard his train a coming. That was one of his last songs. He heard his train a coming, right? And he knew it was his time. He also probably had a premonition because he was leaving his manager, who seemed to be a kind of a shady character, Michael Jeffrey, and he had links with the mafia and with the British Secret Service, and it might have been him that did Jimmy in, for all we know, right? Maybe Michael Jeffrey put someone up to it. And I'm sure people think that that Monika had something to do with it too, and I don't think she did. That's why I'm trying to, one reason to do this video is I'm going to be one of the voices that say something different. Because I think that Monika actually has, if anyone actually listens to her, she has an answer to, how the story became what it became. There was this movement towards painting Jimmy in a certain way, and that happened all throughout his life. That he was this wild man. He was way into drugs, and he was trying every drug. He'd go on stage drugged out, and I'm sure that was true to a certain extent, maybe early on. And he also, was the such a ladies' man. He told all these ladies he wanted to marry her. That's why people think that Monika, she was just another young woman that Jimmy told he loved and he was going to marry, and he told every girl that, and that's not true. But that's the image that we have of him, and that's the image that has been painted in the popular press and the media. And I think there is a narrative out there that Jimmy was maybe not who he really was. Because I think Jimmy was very playful, and I think he kind of hid who he really was as well. You can hear it in the music, but when it came to his interviews, I think he was evasive, and I think he was playful, and I think he was, sometimes said things that people wanted to hear, or that he thought were funny. Like when he was on Dick Cavett, this is in 1970 after Woodstock. Dick Cavett, one of the last questions was, "Do you think you're ever going to get married?" And he said, and Jimmy was like, "I hope not." But then he proposed marriage to Monika. It's apparently. So I think he was just, I said that too when I was young. I hope I never get married. I hope, right? But then I got married. So, but anyway, the thing I want to say, leading up to, you probably just want to hear the poem, but leading up to the poem is, I think that Jimmy may have found, in a very short period of time, I think he may have understood something, and he may have seen something in Monika that he knew that somehow she was going to carry the torch for him after he was gone, that somehow she was going to represent who he truly was to the world, and she was the one that he was supposed to marry. I like that story. Maybe that's why I'm promoting that right now. But it's a beautiful story, and I think it may be true. And let's listen to this poem that he wrote for Monika. Now, let's just preface it. One more thing. Did Jimmy talk about Jesus or mention anything related in any of his songs? I don't know all of his songs. I know Purple Haze, Purple Haze, Jesus Saves. That's how it started. That was the original title. And then that got edited out. Obviously, his manager, for one, was like, "No, we can't have Jesus in there. You're not going to talk about Jesus, because you are the wild man. You don't talk about Jesus." Right? You are the idol. right? You don't talk about any other great figure, or something like that. Or just the fact that the teeny boppers and the young people, they don't want to hear about Jesus either. They're trying to get away from Jesus. The Wind Cries Mary. It was apparently written for Jimmy's first girlfriend after he got famous. I'm probably going to forget. Kathy Etchinson, I believe was her name. There's a story there too. I don't want to go into it, but they had a fight, and then Jimmy wrote that song, "Wind Cries Mary." Apparently, it's about her and the relationship. I think it goes deeper. Actually, I think when Jimmy is talking about somewhere a queen is weeping, somewhere a king has no wife. I think he's talking about Mary. When Jesus is crucified, right? Or Mary at the tomb. I think there's a reference there. So Jimmy maybe had it in his mind somehow. He was a Gnostic in a way. He believes that somehow Mary Magdalene was, that he and Mary Magdalene, Jesus and Mary Magdalene had something. And you can hear it in this poem. So let's read the poem. It actually starts with the word slow in parentheses, which suggests that this was a song, right? And Monika says that Jimmy had his guitar. He was playing the guitar, and then he wrote this all out, kind of in a flash of inspiration. He wrote the whole poem. So the poem goes like this: the story of Jesus, so easy to explain. After they crucified him, a woman, she claimed his name. The story of Jesus, the whole Bible knows, went all across the desert, and in the middle he found a rose. Let's just talk about that just for a moment. So it seems to be talking about Mary Magdalene, right? That Jesus found Mary Magdalene. The whole Bible knows. Well, the whole Bible doesn't really know it, but maybe the Gnostic Bible does, or it's a funny line. The whole Bible knows, but and did he go all across the desert? The Bible doesn't say that. It says that he went into the desert, right? He went into the wilderness, but did he find Mary Magdalene? I don't think so. But that's the song, this is like very Jimmy. You can hear in this is very Jimmy, right? That's one reason why he wrote this. It's in his handwriting too. I read one person said that it seems that he wrote this quickly, and he might have written it under duress. And the point being made was that Monika kind of forced him to write this, which doesn't make any sense, right? But it doesn't look like it was written under duress. All right. There should be no questions. There should be no lies. He wrote was twice. He was married ever happily after. Now, did Jimmy was he just dyslexic in that moment, or did he write that on purpose, ever happily after, instead of happily ever after? Is there some meaning to writing it ever happily after versus happily ever after? Maybe Jimmy just wanted to be different there. They were married. No use in arguing, all the use to the man that moans. When each man falls in battle, his soul, it has to roam. Okay. So they were married. He went all across the desert. He found a rose. He found Mary. They were married. All the use to for all the tears we cry, no use in arguing. For all the tears we cry, maybe for all the tears we cry about Jesus, no use in arguing, all the use to the man that moans. maybe no use in arguing about this. It's no use to Jesus, right? It's moaning on the cross. I think that's what it means. When each man falls in battle, his soul has to roam. Now, he seems to be saying that Jesus was a man, right? He fell in battle. His soul had to roam. What does that mean? Reincarnation? Angels of heaven, flying saucers. This is how you know it's Jimmy, right? Because he's talking about angels and flying saucers. Made Easter Sunday the name of the rising sun. Now, it kind of looks like, it kind of looks like home, and it kind of looks like name. Is it the name or the home of the rising sun? It's a good question. But remember that how did Jesus? How did Jimmy become? I keep saying Jesus, Jimmy. Maybe they're the same thing. Oh, actually, Monika says at one point that he says that Jimmy never tried to make himself like Jesus. She makes a point to say that she doesn't want to make it sound like he's Jesus, and he never made it sound like he was either. I'd have to find that. But here, Jimmy is kind of, saying that he's like Jesus, right? It's playful though, right? It's, in a way, it's not to be taken too seriously. He's writing this for his girlfriend. He's writing this for his fiancée. He's saying, we're going to be married. You're like Mary to my Jesus. Now the thing about the home of the rising sun, remember the guys that found him were the animals, right? Eric Burden and Chas Chandler, and they had their big hit was the House of the Rising Sun. So maybe there's a reference there. And they did have a part to play. Chas Chandler and Eric Burden had a part to play in his death as well. All right, the story is written by so many people who dared to lay down the truth to so very many who cared to carry the cross of Jesus and beyond. We will gild the light. It doesn't say guide the light. It says gild the light, G-U-I-L-D, this time with a woman in our arms. So the story is written by so many people who dared to lay down the truth to so very many who cared to carry the cross of Jesus and beyond. We will gild the light, this time with a woman in our arms. Now Jimmy here seems to be saying that this story of the marriage of Jesus and Mary was written by so many people who dared and so many people who cared, and they're really the ones carrying the cross, right? They're gilding the light. They're joining together, banding together, and they are carrying the true message of the cross. All right, let's go on. That's what I think he's getting at there. We as men can't explain the reason why the woman's always mentioned at the moment that we die. Well, that's not true, but again, this is like so Jimmy. It's cute. It's funny. In this case, it's also it's a premonition. He knows he's about to die. He's writing this poem. That's what's amazing about this poem, is that in a way he knows he's about to die. All we know is God is by our side, and he says the word, so easy yet so hard. He says the word, so easy yet so hard. God is by our side, right? He says the word. What is the word? Love, maybe, right? So easy yet so hard. I wish not to be alone, so I must respect my other heart. Now this is his answer to what he said on Dick Cavett. Dick Cavett asked him, you're going to get married anytime soon? And he's like, oh God, I hope not. I wish not to be alone, so I must respect my other heart. Oh, the story of Jesus is a story of you and me, right? You, Monika, and me, Jimmy. This is a story of you and me. No use in feeling lonely. I am you. I am you, searching to be free. I am you, searching to be free. And they're going to find it together. It's beautiful. It's a very beautiful poem. It's a very beautiful sentiment. The story of life is quicker than the wink of an eye. The story of love is hello and goodbye until we meet again. It makes you want to cry, if you really think about this poem. And what an amazing way to end his life with these words. For this beautiful young woman who was truly listening to him, who was truly taking in everything he said, and truly wanting to know who he was, which he probably did not find too much elsewhere in the world. And in a way, that's why he chose her. And I want to, I know that my videos are not getting too many views. I don't know how I would, not that it's even important. Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe, with those with eyes to see and ears to hear are going to hear it and see it. And those who don't, won't. That's the way it is. And when we're ready to, we'll see it. If you want to be blessed by this, see the beauty and the truth of what this is and what Monika is saying in her book, you will read it with an open mind and an open heart, and you won't be prejudiced by all the things you see and hear out there. I have a lot more to say about this, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. And thank you so much for listening, and would love to hear any comments that you have about this. And I'm going to keep sharing. I'm going to actually do an electric version of this poem. I did an acoustic version, but I'm going to do an electric version where I get the words more correct this time. And I'll actually do some soloing, and stay tuned for that. So see you soon. Thank you.